Hey, everyone. Welcome to today's keynote. Remember, I told you guys that my goal is to continuously show up for 30 days, Monday through Friday, to give you 10, maybe even 15 minutes. We went about 11, 12 minutes yesterday. Minutes of tips, information, storytelling. We're going to talk about it all in the guise of marketing, public relations, media, and funding. If we have not met, my name is Keandra Ward. I'm the founder of the KWI Collective. We're a marketing, public relations, and media firm here in Florida. I'm excited because, first of all, let's get personal. Let's talk. We're going to talk about pivots and transitions today, but let me get a little personal. All right. So I have management. Most people know I have management with me. And management is in kindergarten. Okay. My child, Kaya, went to, I think it's a little blurry. Let me try to do my screen. Sorry, guys. Should have did that before. My child went to a charter school, not a public school. Okay. So things were different. Car line was different. She didn't have to ride a bus. But I will say, I'm learning. Okay. Nobody warned me. And for all of you to be on my Facebook page, and I know you guys saw that we were going to kindergarten. Nobody said, hey, let me give you a little warning. Let me give you a little idea about Carline. Let me give you an idea about what kindergarten looks like and these bus rides and parents and all the things. But I digress. I'll do some reels about that. But baby, I was like, oh, it had me so that after my walk this morning, I had to go take a nap. Like I just got up about 30 minutes ago, jumped in the shower, came to be with y'all because I was like, oh, this is a lot. I thought that she would be tired after 2 days of school. I'm tired after 2 days of kindergarten, y'all. But let's talk about today's topic is your pivot has purpose, turning setbacks into setups. If you have followed me for any length of time, you know that I've had some major life transitions. I started off in the beauty industry, had to put down a field that I love to be my mom's full-time caregiver, which took our income, which allowed me to lose my home. I lost cars. Whole story. It's a lot around that. I won't get all into that. But that life transition set me up for purpose and where I am now. Did I know that this would be what my purpose is? Had no idea. I thought that I would be in the beauty industry forever and retire and even teaching and training in the beauty industry was fine for me, but I thought that that's where I would be, right? So what I noticed is, and what I know to be true, is that sometimes life transitions can make you feel like you have lost control. Okay. But the thing about it, pivots in most cases are divine setups for your next big thing. If you manage the pivot correctly, you have to learn how to reframe your mind and your thinking, reposition your positioning, and then relaunch your life or business after these unexpected changes. Now, what I will not say is that you don't take the time to mourn the loss. You don't take the time to you can be upset. You can be mad. Go to counseling. I've gone to grief counseling. I have a therapist. If you followed me, I have a degree in psychology and I have a dual degree. It's behavioral and industrial organizational psychology. So behavioral and IO, is more of the business side of psychology and the relationship people building side of psychology, right? So yeah, absolutely. Take the time to heal. Okay. Take the time so that you're not creating something that your spirit and your mind and your body and soul will crash and burn because you're not healthy enough to maintain what you're building. Don't just start building stuff and repositioning and relaunching just to cover or mask the pain. Deal with the pain. Deal with the pain. What I learned, and some of the key points that I learned about this, is that pivots, it isn't failure. A lot of times we think it's failure. It's actually realignment in most cases. For me, Okay. Because I walk closely with God. And I know that sometimes God will shift me so that he can realign me to where he wants me to be. And so I talk to him often um, about my life and how he uses closed doors for me to move into another opportunity or to me to move into another think space, right? And in most cases, I don't see it at first. It is my friends that tell me every time you get to this point, get to this feeling. If you watch the trajectory of how God moves for you, he's always setting you up for your major next. Now, when I'm in it, let's be clear, I don't see that. I'm like, no, he's not. What is happening? But what I've realized after going back and listening to my friends, they are absolutely correct. So you got to understand that your pivot isn't failure, it's realignment. But what you have to do is ask yourself, what can I now do that I couldn't do before? Now that this pivot has changed, it may be you have more time. It may be you have new experiences from the pivot that you left. Maybe it was a job that you left, right? So what I started doing is writing down 3 opportunities that this new path opens for me in my day to day. It gives me more time. It gives me more opportunity to do this, and this. It gives me the ability to do this, and this, right? So then I look at that, and then I look at some of my plans. If you know me, you know I am a planner. You also know that in this season, this is planning season, right? This is planning season for me. So you also know that I'm going back, right? I'm looking at my notes and I'm looking at these 3 opportunities and looking at how I can merge and what I can do next. What we have to realize is that even if it's a business pivot, you are already equipped for the next. You already have it in you. So it's up to you to build and rebuild your confidence so that you can begin to implement while you're healing or do the healing and then immediately implement. But when you begin to implement, you want to do this thing. And this is what helps me because I'm also mentally driven, right? You want to do things that allow you want to do small things that give you quick wins up front to rebuild your belief in your strength. We have to look at this thing from a not um a subconscious setting, right? Our conscious mind says we can do it. Our subconscious mind will say sometimes, no, you can't. What you doing? You already know you've been there, you done failed, that didn't happen, this didn't happen, and people did this, that. That's what our subconscious minds do, right? So when we begin to implement, and I have begun to implement this in a new strategy of when I am building anything, I do those things that I know will give me quick wins to build my strength and confidence in what I'm building, right? So do those quick wins to rebuild your self-belief. Start with projects and actions that give you immediate results. And when I say immediate results. For me, sometimes that's going on a podcast, talking. It may be opening up my coaching and doing quick coaching calls because I realize that in the one-on-one coaching space, that is one of my sweet spots, right? So all of those things, I do those things that help me rebuild my confidence in the space that I'm in. And then a lot of times, my pivots, if you have followed me, you know that I begin to position my pivot as a brand asset. I share the story. I tell you guys about the story, the transition, what's happening, right? I begin to share and it becomes a part of my brand. It becomes a part of the know, like, and trust of you getting to know me, you getting to know my brand, and you getting to know how we got to the space that we are in. What that does is it creates relatability and it creates positioning. And when you are showing in business how you are overcoming a pivot, it positions you as resilient, resourceful, and relevant. And then you can see, people will be able to see the results from your pivot. And then they can see that you are executing with excellence and that you're actually doing well, right? So when we think about our pivots, what we have to realize in this space is our story is just as important. So your story is not punishment, it's purpose. So your story is your strongest pitch. Make your story possible for other people to ignore. We all have a testimony. We all have a story. We all have a turning point. We all have setbacks. Sometimes our pivots are not even negative pivots. Sometimes they're positive pivots. We just have to know how to merge that into the story and weave that into the story of our life into our business to make sense. We're not just going to throw stories out there and say, oh my God, I transitioned, I did this, I'm overcoming. It needs to make sense with the overall look, feel, and style of your brand. We want to know that, right? But also you have to understand that people want to know, like, and trust you. So it's important that you show up in a space that they can do that through your storytelling. How did you get here? Why did you get here? What was the pivot? If it sometimes pivots are positive and sometimes they can be negative, but how did you overcome, whether it's positive or negative, and what did you do? Okay. So just remember that your story is your strongest pitch. Make it possible for other people to ignore. So again, I said I wanted to come on and do these lives for 10 to 15 minutes, because it's always going to be around 11 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes for 30 days to give you actionable tips that you can implement in the guise of marketing, public relations, media, and funding. And I want you to remember that no matter where you are, you have the ability to change. Remember that you set the tone for your day, year, and life. Always remember to make it a great one. I'll talk to you guys soon.